welcome to episode 6 of Knitting on the Farm podcast. It is Tuesday the 9th of June and my name is Angela. And this is my podcast where I chat about my knitting and farming life and my spiritual life and really anything else that's going on. So how has everyone been from the last time? It's been just over a month from I recorded episode 5. I'm not sticking very well to this 2-week routine at all. I just don't know where the time goes, and I don't sometimes know what I've been doing with my time, but I'll talk a wee bit about that later on. I think in the summertime and such good weather, you're inclined to take on other things, and maybe crafting goes a bit to the wayside. But anyway, I have lots of things to show you today, and I will tell you how the podcast is going to go. I have some make-alongs that I want to talk about. I have quite a few finished things this time. I have some things on the needles. I also have a couple of things that are coming up next that I want to chat to you about. I have some Postie deliveries. Terrible. And then we'll have our little let's chat at the end if I haven't run out of time by that point. So can I just start by saying thank you so much for watching my little podcast extra about my craft room. I got some lovely comments and I really like that. Like, I'm sure you're like me, you like to get a wee nosy around other people's little crafting corners, and I have been really enjoying this room. It has I just have found it's been really good for my mentality, and it's just a really lovely corner to come to and just gather my thoughts and do some knitting. So that is subscribers covered. We're nearly at 500, so maybe we could do a little thank you giveaway when it would come to 500. Watch out for the next episode to see if we get there or not, and there might be some goodies that could make someone's day happy in the mail. I better cover where you can find me as well. I mainly pop onto Instagram every day, where you can find me as Knitting on the Farm with all the underscores, and I am on Ravelry as Knitting on the Farm, which is all one word. And our little podcast group over there for the channel is called Knitting on the Farm, all one word again, and podcast group after it. And if you want to contact me personally, you can use knittingonthefarm@gmail.com, and I will reply that way. Also, if you're on Instagram, if you go into my bio, there's a little link there, and it'll take you through to any of the places if you want to pop on. It might be a wee bit easier for you. So that's all the admin-y things out of the way. So how has everyone been from the last time? I'm sure I know our UK folk have had exceptional weather, and it has been beautiful to just be outside and to not have to worry about coats or not have to worry about bringing in furniture and things. It has just been so lovely, and such a shock when the weather changed last week. It got quite cold, but I think it's going to be better towards the end of the week here with us, so that'll be good. I'm looking forward to that. And I would say, like myself, a lot of the countries now, lockdown restrictions seem to be easing. And while that's good, I think it has brought quite a lot of anxiety, because you're not just quite sure sometimes what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing. And we have just taken the approach here that we'll do what we feel is comfortable within the regulations. So if something changes and we don't feel happy with it, we're just doing what we feel is best. And basically we're just trying to stay at home unless it's absolutely necessary, which I think is maybe the wise thing to do. But I'm really looking forward to when we can get to see our grandchildren. It's been a long time from we've seen them in real life, and it would be lovely just to have some time with them and our children, of course, as well. So here's hoping that can happen. That can happen soon. We could meet them outside, but the grandchildren are quite small, and I just don't think they would understand, and it wouldn't be very fair on them. So we're just going to wait for a wee while longer. So I will also mention then, of course, our make along, which I am hosting with Kaz from the Wee So and So. Her podcast's brilliant. I love Kaz. If you like an accent, she's got a nice Scottish accent, and she is a fantastic knitter. She can get so much done in such a short space of time. So I am hosting the garment section of the make along. It is called Leap into Spring, Leap into Summer. Can't remember. Better check. Leap into Spring Cal. So she is hosting then the accessories section, and there's both chatter threads and finished objects threads on both our groups. So pop along there and see some of the lovely things that are finished. The work's lovely and people have been really busy, and there's plenty of chat going on, so you can enjoy that. There's also, just to mention, it's just another make along. It's nothing to do with me, but I'm going to join it, and it's called the Summer Sock Camp by Knitting, and the handle for it is Summer Sock Camp 2020 on Instagram, and pop across to her podcast group. She has some fantastic threads set up and some great videos if you would like to start to knit socks for the very first time. She's covering videos for all the different methods that you can use, from 9-inch circulars to DPNs to magic loop, and she also has a pattern that she's following through just to show you how to do every aspect of the sock. So now is the time to learn. So you can pop across to her. I know on Instagram there's loads of lovely photographs of what people have been knitting, and I hope to join in on that. I'll show you a wee bit later just what I have. So I have some finished things today. If I haven't already said, I did record before and the dog barked, so I can't remember. I have some things on the needles. I have an up next section. I have some Postie deliveries, and then we'll have our usual little chat at the end. So the first thing that I have finished was the baby blanket. This has already been gifted now. So I don't have it here to show you, but I had photographs up on Instagram, and I will insert some photographs in here as well. The pattern was the Seaside Stroll baby blanket, and it was available as a free pattern on Ravelry. I did talk in one of the podcasts about the slight modifications that I made, doing the tubular cast on, and I did the cast off, and I also did it was an I-cord cast on. Oh, this isn't going very well, is it? And I did the I-cord at the edges, and then did the I-cord cast off as well. So it blocked really well. The wool was beautifully soft, and it was a wool, acrylic and cashmere mix. It was a Sirdar yarn called Snuggly Cashmerino, and it was lovely. I do hope that the baby enjoys it. It most certainly will keep it nice and warm. So that was one of the finished objects, the Seaside Stroll baby blanket. The next object then that I finished was my heel toe do-si-do socks, I think. Yes, I had the last time, I just had one of these completed, and I showed it because I had nothing finished last time. So yeah, now they're finished. I just love them. I love the yarn, and I really love this pattern. It's by Kay, the Crazy Sock Lady, and I hope you can see the pattern. I really love it in the self-striping yarn. It really does suit it very well. And I did the Eye of Partridge heel, and then I did the 1x1 through the back loop cuff, and I also just did the toe this time that was in the pattern rather than the rounded toe that I would normally use. So this yarn was from Felt Fusion. I purchased it on Etsy, and she dyed it for me. I had seen these knit in similar colours, and I fell in love with it, and she was quite happy to dye this for me because the original dyer wasn't doing it anymore. So it's beautiful, lovely and soft. So I will be fit to put them into my sock box now. So the yarn was 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. I did slightly longer cuff this time. I did the 23 rows, and I did the cuff on the 2.25, and then I came down to the 2mm needles. If you remember, I was having problems with my gauge just getting quite loose, and it has worked well, especially with cuff down. I'll talk about my next pair and cuff toe up, but that's the heel toe do-si-do pattern by the Crazy Sock Lady in self-striping by Felt Fusion from Etsy. So that's my second finished object. This podcast is opposite to the last one. I have loads of finished objects and I don't have very much cast on. What's next? Yes, I will cover my next pair of socks. They're next in my journal. So these were the Pebble and Pathways socks. I don't know whether I had one. I don't think I had one finished the last time. The designer's Hey Brownberry Designs, and I called these the ups and downs, because when I was knitting them, I just felt that these cables were very much the ups and downs of just living in lockdown, living in these times. So I have the two of those finished. The cable is just on the front, on the foot of the sock, and then it is on the front and back on the leg. I've knit these before and I just altered the pattern and I knit them cuff down, but this time I just followed the pattern exactly and knit them toe up. I did the 2.25 mil. Sorry, I knit the toe and from the toe to the cuff on 2mm needles, and it definitely has worked well because with the garter here, it's a looser fitting sock. And then this time for this one, I did a longer cuff. I did 64 foot rows, 64 leg rows, and then I did 25 rows in the cuff. Now, normally I always do a knit row before I start the cuff, be it toe up or toe or cuff down. If it's cuff down, I just do a knit before I start the pattern after the cuff. So I did the knit row and then I changed to the 2.25 mil needles. Again, it's just my 1x1 through the back loop rib. Sorry, lost my train of thought. I always do a knit row then before I do the bind off. And I did the bind off in the 2mm needle size, and I had tried it on the 2.25, and for the stretchy bind off it was just too loose and it looked very sloppy. I just wasn't happy with it at all, so I took it back and did it on the 2mm needles. I did the bind off, it's a yarn over bind off. You knit one and yarn over, and then you take the yarn over the knit stitch and do it that way. So I'm pleased with the way they turned out. They're actually still just finished off drying. I did the blocking yesterday. So the yarn for those then was Back to Blighty, was the maker, and it was called Strawberries and Cream. I purchased this as a de-stash from my friend some time ago, and it was 80% blue face Leicester and 20% nylon. So I do like it. I love the tiny, if you can see, nice wee halo of them. So they will be nice and warm. It'll be interesting to see how they wear, and I really want to try the longer cuff to see what it's like. So that's my ups and downs socks, the Pebbles and Pathways pattern by Hey Brown Berry, and I have two. So that's sock pair 2. My next finished object then was something that I hadn't ever really thought of knitting, but our pastor and his wife became grandparents, so I thought I would knit something for their little grandson. And I wanted something, I really do like these onesies, if you can see, and this one here, it's actually showing up really well. You can see, hopefully it resembles Rudolph. So this was called the Rudolph overall. The designer is Felipa Cañero. It just said on the internet that I got it through Ravelry, and it said Rudolph overall 216 autumn winter. So I presume it was part of a magazine or a booklet or something like that. I knit this in Serdar Country style 4-ply, which I had in my stash. It's lovely and soft. It was quite rough when I was knitting it, but it softened with being blocked. And then I added the wooden buttons to the bottom, and the pattern called for a pom-pom for Rudolph's nose, but I had a little heart button and I preferred that. I thought the pom-pom was just, mine looked too untidy. So, and then I put 2 more wooden buttons on the top. So that should fit him come the winter time, Christmas, December. And I really like it. It'll be nice with a wee pair of jeans and even a wee shirt underneath, I think. So I'm hoping the mum likes it too. The wool is can be machine washed, so it's just a 40% nylon, 30% wool and 30% acrylic, so it shouldn't cause any problems. Wash wise, hopefully. New mums have enough to do without having to hand wash, don't they? So that's my Rudolph overalls for the little baby. I came down a needle size when I was knitting those. I think the pattern calls for 3.25 and I knit them on a 3mm needle, just if anybody's interested, and it was a free pattern on Ravelry. Then to a total surprise, the pastor's son We didn't know anything about it, but his wife just announced that I think on the day actually the baby was due, the pastor's son and his wife were expecting a baby, so that baby arrived as well. So they became grandparents of 2 little pigeons inside a week, which was a shock, I'm sure. And it's so sad because with the whole regulations, I mean, they haven't even been able to get a nurse yet, so it is sad, but hopefully soon they'll be able to cuddle the little ones. So the dress then is called Helen Joyce. I can show it to you on the pattern. It is a paid for pattern. I have knit this several times and I just love it. She has several dresses and all her patterns are so well written and so easy to follow. It's definitely one I would recommend. So I just called this dress Pure Joy. I have them all updated on Ravelry. I did that yesterday. So this it's not showing very well. That's showing better, maybe color wise. This dress is knit from Deep Stash. I don't have the name of it. I do know the top was the little money that came along with the sugar and cream from the socks that I didn't use, so I put it into the bodice of the dress, and the bottom was in my sock yarn basket. I'm not sure where it came from, but I also added, if you can, I added little beads to the heart on the top, and I added them as I went along, so hopefully they're secure enough. I have no problems with that. And I knit the age 6 months, so again, that'll be nice with even leggings in the winter time or as a long tunic come the end of summer. The lace work's lovely. I'm not sure whether I'm really showing it up very well or not, but again, it's just finished drying and nothing more. And I put 2 wee sparkly buttons that match the darker colour in the skirt on the back. So I can get those parcelled up now and posted off to the mummies and daddies, and hopefully they'll like them. I have loads of the yarn left over, so I have enough for another pair of socks, and I still have quite a bit of the pink left. That gives you a better representation of the colour. So that is the Pure Joy dress, and ta-da! The last thing that I have finished is my floozy cardigan. Boy, am I glad to have this off the needles. And I really don't know why I put it away, because I didn't have Sleeve Island. I enjoyed doing the sleeves. I just don't know. I just was lazy. I just put too many things in between knitting it and didn't allocate time. Now, I don't have it blocked. If I can move back. I just have it finished and the buttons on. So if I stand up, you can see. It is quite a nice pink. It maybe comes up more red there. I put 1 contrasting button on. That's the end. And the rest in the green buttons. If you can see, it is so cozy. I really am pleased with it. I think it is a tad on the bigger side, so I most certainly won't be doing any aggressive blocking. but it does need block to just to settle out the pattern on the top, but it'll be very minimal what I'll do. But I am so pleased with it. I did quite a long cuff because I like to put the cuffs back. So yeah, I did the twist through the back loop just on all the ribbing. I did it on the neck as well, and I did it on the button band, or on the ribbon as well. So this I purchased from Eden Cottage Yarns last year at the Edinburgh Yarn Festival in March, and took me over a year to finish it. I love her yarn, and I most certainly would buy it again. And it was beautiful to knit with, and there's nothing more to say about it. It's lovely. I've put all the colorways up on my Ravelry project page. Excuse me. It was knit in her Helen 4-ply range, and the colorways were Drizzle, which is the green, red was called Red Goosefoot, and then Hyssop. Hyssop was the green, and Drizzle is the speckled green, and then Red Goosefoot is the pinky red colour. So I just had enough. I purchased 5 skeins of the main colour, and then I took cold feet when I come home and purchased another skein, but it was a different dye lot, obviously. And a little closer to the camera. So I played about and finished the bottom before I did the ribbing, and made sure I did the sleeves, because I really didn't want to have to start the different dye lot in the cardigan. I wanted to leave it, and if I had to do the ribbing, well then that would be okay. So it did take the 5. I can show you what I had left. I think I have it in here. Maybe not. Oh, that's from the blanket. No, obviously I didn't keep it, but I just had, literally, it was about that much left out of the 5 skeins, just a few grams. So I was very fortunate. Those are just, that's the button band, or oh my words, that's the yarn band. So that's my floozy cardigan, and it's off the needles, and I couldn't be happier, and it's just perfect time of year for to have it to put in the back of the car, or put around your shoulders, or even in the evenings just sitting down. It's so cozy, and I'm really pleased with it. So that means I can put my old knitting journal away, because that is everything in it complete. Happy days. Okay, so we've covered our finished things. That was a spiel. How are we for time? Oh, not too bad. Need to keep moving on. So what have we on the needles then? Literally, because I just have been really finishing these things off, I haven't had a chance to cast anything on as such. But I still have Andrew's socks. Isn't my Robin so cute? Andrew's socks are still on the needles. I think I've only done maybe a dozen rows from the last time I showed you them, so it's not even worth showing them to you. Well, maybe actually a few more than a dozen rows, but these are still to be finished, and I'm going to work on them a wee bit now and get them done. The likes of this would normally be car knitting, just the plain sock, but not being out in the car, it's not getting a lot of love. And I did say that I think on those I just was doing the toe and the heel recipe from the Mabel Socks pattern by So Sweet Violet, and the rest is just plain stocking stitch then. So I probably have 10, 20, 30, I have about another 30 rows maybe to do on the leg. So, and that's only the first sock, so I best I suppose crack on with them. But sure, we all need to have a pair of socks on the needles at all times, don't we? So not a lot to show on them. Then I had talked several times about what I was going to cast on, and I had always said it was going to be the Feather and Fern sweater. And then on my Instagram feed, of course, popped something that caught my eye, and I just said I need to knit it. So I decided to cast on next the Mano sweater, Mano, M-A-N-O-U, by Isabel Kramer. So I just get the pattern. Again, this is a Ravelry purchase, and it's a paid for pattern. So I'll show you the picture. It is lovely, and I like that there's a little bit of colour work at the bottom because it keeps the interest going. I am knitting size 6 in this. It called for 5 to 6 inches of positive ease. I think that leaves me just about 5.5, I think. So I basically just have cast it on. I have done the short row shaping, and yeah, that's the right way. I am ready to start the colour work now. I just did some knitting on this early this morning, before my feet touched the floor, as they say. So the yarn I'm using, I think I did talk about it. I talked about it in Postie anyway, on one of the other podcasts. So it is Loopy yarn, and it is Loopy, Little Loopy, if that's how you pronounce it. I had this left over from a shawl that I knit, and I had 2 of this, and I had almost 1 of the contrast in the sort of blue colourway, and I thought I would get in touch with the shop and see if they had the same dye lot, and they did. So I ordered the extra then to make up the quantity for the sweater, and it's lovely to knit with. It is quite toothy, but it is really nice, and it actually worked out a reasonably priced sweater in comparison for, say, this cardigan or the yarn that I have for the Fern and Feather. This worked out very reasonable, so I'm pleased about that. My bag, if you want to know, let me see. This camera is not going well today at all. Was designed and made by Curly Emma Embroidery, and that's her name on Etsy, and that's her name also on Instagram, and it's lovely. I love the way she uses the tweed fabrics, and it's like a nice velour-y type finish on the bag. So that's where I got that, if you want to pop across to her shop. So the colorway is just in the let me just see where my notes are. The colorways then that I'm using in the Loopy yarn, they were just 0085 and 9840. I'm not just sure about the blue. maybe I should have went for cream and not worried about the little bit I have. I don't know whether it's going to just be enough contrast. Those are good. That's a good, you know, a good representation of the colour. So what do you think? You can let me know if you think it would be better with a cream. I mean, it definitely would stand out more, but you know, for a nice winter jumper. I'm not showing this very well at all. I think it'll be okay. As I say, the cream would give it a totally different effect, but just because I had it, I thought it was a good way of using up, because, you know, 40 grams wasn't going to knit very much. So we'll see how it goes. I'll do a few rows of the colour work, and if I really don't like it, well then I'll order the quantity that I would need in cream. So that's really the two things that are on the needles at the moment. There isn't even any languishing whips. Everything is finished up to date, and I'm really glad. I'm glad for that, because I can sort of concentrate now just on my summer knitting and get it finished up, and then start into my winter knitting, which will probably be maybe summer things for next year. I don't have any summer tops planned for myself just at the moment, though there could be a random cast on. I had something on Sunday and I really liked it, so I might whip up another one of those. We'll see. So then that's everything that's on the needles. If you're still with me, thank you very much. This seems to be quite disjointed today. We'll see what it's like when I play it back. So up next then, really the only thing that I have planned for up next is joining in with Kay's summer sock camp, excuse me. And a couple of my friends on Instagram are going to do it too. So that'll be good. Everybody's just finishing up a few projects before we start. So I think the threads go on to August. So we've plenty of time, and it doesn't really matter. It's just taking part and seeing what other people's doing. It doesn't bother me about really entering as such. So I needed to decide what I wanted to knit, and I really wanted to use a pattern out of my 52 weeks of socks. And I've been looking through it last night, and I took a quick look again this morning, and these patterns are absolutely beautiful. There's such a selection in here. There's toe up, there's top down, there's slippers, there's charted only, there's charted and written patterns, there's various selection of heels and constructions, a lot of cables, quite a lot of lace work, and I really wanted to pick one of these because I wanted to do something different. But having said that, I know Kay is organising her live thread on Instagram, and I know she's talking about doing a couple of Zoom rooms as well, and I felt if it's too complicated, I'm not going to be able to knit on natter, and that wouldn't do. So I'm not quite sure yet what pattern I'm going to pick, but I'll show you two that I picked out of here that might be a possibility that I could have some fun and knit at the same time. The first one is called Lottie. If you can see. I can't see what yeah, can you see it okay? I'm trying not to give away the pattern, but it's a beautiful sort of like a crisscross type pattern with a couple of just rows at the top of contrasting colours, and I thought that would be an option because it isn't a heavily pattern, and I'm going to tell you how many. Oh, come here. Sorry, there's not too many rows. I think it's a 4 pattern repeat, and it's opposite for left and right, so it's not too complicated, and it could be, by the time I get a few rows done, I think I would probably have it remembered. That's one candidate. And then this is the other candidate, Vervain, which is more lacy, which is quite nice. And it doesn't have a cable, it doesn't have a cup really per se. The pattern goes right to the top, so I thought that was quite nice. And it's a reasonable pattern for memorizing, so those are a couple of my options. That one, now that one has a few more rows. I think it has maybe 20 rows in the pattern, but it's sort of, it's no cabling, it's SSKs and that type of thing, which wouldn't be hard to remember. That's quite a nice open lace one, which would be nice for the summer. So that could be an option. That's the only two. The rest of them are beautiful, and I will knit some of them, but not just for what I'm hoping to do and have some fun in the actual knit along. So the yarn that I'm going to use then, I don't think I maybe showed you this last time because it had just come in, and with the postage and things I didn't want to ruin the surprise for anybody else. But it is my sock club, and it is the April sock club, which was the chaffinch. It's just lovely the way I just love the way the kit comes to you with the fabric bag and the little lavender pouch. And it was the goldfinch or chaffinch. I always get those two birds mixed up. Just give me a second. And the goldfinch, yeah. So this was the colourway I was thinking of using for the socks. The artwork again is painted by Sherry's son, Christopher. And then that's the little progress keeper. It's a birdhouse. So this is what I was going to use. I thought it was nice because some of the crops in the fields and things are starting to come into this colour, you know, especially rapeseed and the like, and I thought it would be nice, and I just love the pop of pinks to do the contrast. So it maybe wouldn't work with the Vervain sock because it would be better in an all in one colour, but it would work with the other one. So that's what I sort of had thought of using, and that's also part of the incoming goodies, I suppose, as well. Tell me what you think, if you think it's suitable for sort of summertime, or would I be safer using something else. It just smells, lavender's just beautiful, so it does. So that's the only two things I have that I'm going to put onto the needles. So next up is Postie. I don't often buy very much, and I suppose I will say it's because I haven't recorded for a month. That'll be I don't need an excuse, do I, really? So the April Sock Club then was one of the incoming goodies. The other thing, my very good friend of Instagram, Diane from Elmtree Yarns, had put up her new collection on Instagram, and this was it. It is Narrow Boat, and I just absolutely fell in love with it. That's her label. It's 75-25 superwash merino, and I just love those colours, which could also be a candidate for my summer camp. They're beautiful. This here I originally thought was navy, but it is actually more grey, and it's really, really nice. And you could pick any of those colours out for a contrast, and I think I probably could find something in stash that would suit very well with that. It's lovely and soft. So that was one of my purchases. And pop over to Di. She's Elmtree Yarns on Etsy. Her wheel's lovely, and she's other little bits and bobs in her shop as well. Some lovely project bags too. She made a beautiful one on the Narrow Boat theme and colourway. So she did. So that was one of my purchases. Then I also purchased these from Dragon Hill Studio. It was meant to be a yarn festival, and the vendors were appearing live or putting up their yarns on Instagram, and I seen these. I had wanted to purchase from this dyer for the winter time for socks for Christmas, and it was getting a bit too late and I wasn't really going to get using it, and I thought I couldn't really justify it just sitting all year. So she had these up on her site, and I thought I would purchase them now. The designer is Dragon Hill Studio, and she is available on the internet as dragonhillstudio.co.uk. There, again, I'll put the links down below. And can't remember just what they were. Don't have it written down either, what they were called. But I took these as being able to use them as two Christmas colours. This one most certainly is the traditional Christmas colours. And then this one's the darker, sort of more vintage colours. And I thought they would make a lovely pair of Christmas socks for my husband. They are self-striping, so, and these ones will be lovely for the girls and the wee ones too. I'll get enough out of that for a pair of adults and a couple of pair of wee tots. I'm really looking forward to knitting with this, to see how it knits up. So that was another purchase that I probably didn't need to make. Then everyone at the moment is having hair issues. I see a lot of people calling it lockdown hair, and mine most certainly has been doing that too. But I also suffer from ME, or chronic fatigue, and I'm on quite a number of medications for a couple of other things as well. And I don't know whether it's the medication, I don't know whether it's a flare-up from my fibro. I just can't work it out, but every now and again I get really bad hair loss, and it has started now for the last couple of months. Well, the last month, 6 weeks anyway, and it's always mainly on the top, just where you can see it, and I get really conscious of it, and it does get me down. And I was saying to my friend Di, who's Helen Tree Yarns, and I showed her a photo and I said, could you make me these? And she said, yes, of course, no problem. So within 2 seconds, she was away and she had a pattern found, and she had these hairbands made for me. If you can see, they're just like they're made out of the cotton, the quilting fabric, and they're wider at the front, and they have elastic in at the back, but they're really squishy and soft, and hence that's why I'm wearing a hairband today. It's for dual purpose, lockdown hair and some hair loss. So it takes away, I just don't feel as conscious of it. I've got used to wearing them, people have got used to seeing me with them, and I really don't mind at all. So Diane very kindly then gifted them to me, as she always does. She's just so kind, and she's really a very, very good Instagram friend, and is always there to say hi and checking in to see how everything is, and she really is a very bestie, as she calls me. So thank you very much, Di, for your kindness and for really helping me out. I appreciate it so much. So that is basically all my items from Postie. I don't want to show you the next one because, as I say, the sock clubs with postage, just at the moment, I don't know whether everybody would have got them or not, but my May sock club come in, and I will just show you the outer fabric, and then I can talk about the yarn again then next podcast, and that way I'm not ruining it for anybody. So yes, I was rather indulgent, and I mightn't have anything to share with you from Postie the next time. So I think that's all sort of the crafty and the knitting type things. There was one other thing I purchased then. As you know, I have talked about it before. I have my knitting journal, and I have my notebooks that I use for Bible study and my Bible, etc. And I like to take them from A to B with me. Sometimes they're in the bedroom, sometimes they're in the kitchen. And I was watching a podcast by Sandy by the Lakeside. I'm sure lots of people know her. She does a beautiful podcast. She's a lovely lady, and she had made a journal caddy. She had a bag. It was a knitting bag. Can't just remember the name of who it was, but anyway, it was a beautiful bag, and I know they're quite expensive. And she gave me the idea, gosh, that's fantastic, you can just put everything in there and you can move it around with you, and it's very handy. So having also watched Mrs. Hinch, I'm sure everybody knows who Mrs. Hinch is, she was using these caddies, excuse me, that she's a great eBayer. So it is just a felt caddy, and it has the sections on the inside. It splits into one long compartment here and then two smaller compartments. So I ordered one. I think it's under £8, and it is absolutely fantastic. Brilliant. I love it. It does exactly what it needs to do, and it's super. So that was the purchase sort of outside my crafting in a way. This beautiful heart then arrived. This was totally unexpected in the post, and my other Instagram friend that I've got to know very well, who is Cherie from Ollie and Bella, and that is another podcast you most certainly should watch. Cherie's beautiful, and she has so many talents in all different crafts. She's a beautiful girl, and this arrived in the post. She said she's seen it, and she just thought it was for me. I had sent her some goodies some time ago and she didn't need to be sending anything, but I thought the front of my bag is just the perfect place for it. It just says, trust in the Lord with all your heart, which is from Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 5. And I just have it pinned in there so that I can move it around should I need to. So thank you, Cherie. I really do treasure it. You were very, very kind. So that was that's the very last of Postie. So as I say, that's the last of the crafting sort of side of things. I have talked on here far too long. So I'll just finish up with a couple of bits of Let's Chat, which isn't very much. I've probably covered the most of it in on Instagram and chatting through here as well. As you know, I was attempting to grow veggies this year and we planted our seeds and nothing grew. The seeds were quite old, and when I looked up on the internet they said that wasn't a problem, but I think it must have been. So we have replanted and we're getting some better results now. So we have our cabbage transplanted out, our peas are coming through, our cauliflower is doing really well, and our little mini carrots have started to peep through with the spring onions and with the beetroot. So we're doing very well. It's coming on and I'm enjoying that. So I suppose maybe that takes me outside a little bit every day, and with such dry weather there was lots of watering and things to do, and with the transplanting, so I did enjoy that. Then of course you probably did see photographs, but our silage is now complete. First round in, happy days. I talked about that the last time, and the boys are just waiting on it growing again to bring it in the next time. So they are. So that's basically all farming. There's not much. The cows aren't really calving much at this time of the year. It's just field work is almost finished, and the boys are just doing the everyday bits and pieces, some repairs of machinery, etc., and keeping the wheels of industry keeping the wheels of industry moving. So there's nothing much to report there. Then I did say I was talking a little bit about my journaling and things, and I've started to keep a planner, and I'm finding it really, really difficult to just focus my time on things, and that always happens when I have a fibro flare up. The days just seem to run into one, and unless I'm very structured, I seem to get nothing done at the end of the day. So I've been really concentrating on trying to manage my time better, and I've been taking weekends off social media, and that has been working quite well. And I'm trying to cut down my time during the day on social media and set little blocks for knitting and little blocks for baking, and it does me good when I know at the end of the day I've completed something, and that's something else that I just have been working on, which is absolutely boring for you. But anyway, that's how it is. What you see is what you get, as I always said. So I'm going to wrap up here. I've been chatting, as I say, far too long, and I hope you've enjoyed the episode. I hope you are keeping well and are adjusting to what everybody says is going to be the new normal, and that you are going to be able to get back into your sort of normal routines, and maybe some children are back at school, etc. Maybe someone in the house is getting back out to work, and I do hope that you are happy with how things are going, And as always, as the government always say, just keep safe and keep your distance, and just look after each other. So I'm going to pop off. I will do some editing and I will pop this up on YouTube either over tonight or tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching, and until I see you again, it's bye for now. Bye.